Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, checking out the Oknife Heron L1, which is a brand new knife from Oknife launching on the OBuy website. Now that's a little bit different from past Oknife releases that were on the Olight website, so I will link to the OBuy website in the description, as well as this individual product, which if you're watching this kind of early after the release, this video did go live at the exact time and date that this knife is launching, so it should be available. And it also coincides with the OBuy website's April sale. So this knife will retail at $64.99, but during that sale, it's 20% off, so that brings it down to $51.99. That ends at the end of the day Eastern time, April 22nd of 23. So if you miss that, or if you're picking up something that's not on sale from the OBuy website, they have a lot of like outdoor and just kind of cool random non-light products on their site. And so if you're buying anything that's not part of the sale, not discounted, I do have a coupon code UC10, which will save you 10% on any non-discounted items. Obviously you're getting a bigger discount on that sale, so it's not going to work there. Now, the fact that this is releasing at the same time as the knife means that they did send this early to me for review. And anytime I get a product for review, I do send over some standard guidelines. Obviously I want to talk about good and bad, give a fair review, not gonna read a script or provide the video prior to publishing for review, anything like that. And OBuy was 100% on board, so obviously shout out to them for that. I do plan on publishing those at some point, probably on a website, so that it's a little bit more transparent what the guidelines for reviewing products is. But for now, know that I did send that over to them and they were on board. Now the product itself has a D2 steel, so we don't get the coin that you see with some Oknifes, but we do get this really sweet patch. And it has a bird on it, I'm assuming a heron, obviously from the name of the knife, but no bird expert, so it could be a random bird. Really kind of tropical theme to it sitting on the knife, so a nice sneak peek to that. And really great looking patch, excited to see that in there. I like that they send patches and coins. It's just another kind of thing that's really cool, and you can carry it with the knife, so if I'm putting this in a pouch, I can throw that patch right on the pouch. Now, let's take a look at the knife itself. One of the more tactical knives that I've seen from them, really cool. The handle is made to look like a gun stock, so it has that really familiar shape, and it has this texturing on it. It is G10, but it has an embossed matrix textured parallelogram on there. Looks super aggressive, definitely adds to the grip, but isn't sharp. So some of these more kind of textured designs that you see on handles, sometimes they'll be a little bit sharp. This one's not at all. It adds to the grip without really making it uncomfortable, which is nice. And this is a really ergonomically comfortable knife for me. It's really going to depend on your hand size probably, so it's a larger knife at 8.38 inches overall, and this handle width gets up to 1.55 inches, so pretty wide handle. For me, everything sat just about perfectly. For my wife, it felt a little bit on the large side, so going to depend on your hand size, but for me, really comfortable knife. Ergonomically, that pocket clip just disappears. My thumb sits right on that jimping really well, and it's the type of jimping that I really like, where it's a little bit wider apart. It's definitely more effective. Sometimes when it gets really close together, it's really not adding anything to the grip. I think people just add it for the look of it. So in that standard grip, thumb lands perfectly. Now if I want a more controlled grip, there's this cutout at the top of the blade where my index finger really lands perfectly as well. So both of those cutting styles for a more controlled cut or just kind of a standard grip are really comfortable in my hand. And again, both of them felt a little bit large for my wife's hand, so if you have smaller hands it might not. But I'm able to get a full 4-finger grip on this 4.72 inch handle. Plenty of room to spare, can definitely spread out if I wanted to. 2 of my fingers sit in that kind of light lock cutout, and then the other 2 right behind it, but really comfortable there. And it is an inset liner lock, so that means that they didn't put any steel liners in here, which is nice for cutting down on the weight. And I like inset liner locks in general, but that does cut out of the weight. 5.36 ounces, which is definitely still on the heavier side for an EDC knife, but for its size doesn't feel particularly heavy. Pretty well balanced. The balance point is just behind the pivot and feels really good in the hand. It doesn't feel heavy at all. So I think wise decision to cut out those steel liners. D2 on the steel, Wharncliffe style blade, really kind of aggressive looking Wharncliffe. I like it a lot actually. Has this compound grind, which isn't just for aesthetics, it's definitely has some intended purposes. You have a flat grind in the front third, which really adds some strength to the tip of the blade. It's gonna make it a little bit stronger for those like piercing type cuts, whereas the back has a really nice hollow grind on it, really thin down at the edge, and that's going to be the section you're doing a lot more slicing type cuts. And so really the back 2/3 or so are that hollow grind, and kind of another just really wise choice, I think, in terms of the functionality of this knife, because it is really meant to be a user. You have that sharpening choil, which is decent size, definitely not going to want to put your finger up there, but it does keep you out from the slicing edge from hitting that handle. No thumb stud or anything to worry about there to interrupt your cuts. You see a thumb hole there, which is a second deployment option behind that flipper tab, and really great action on it. It's on bearing, so it's going to fall till that flipper tab hits your thumb, and then a single shake is going to get you the rest of the way. The flipper tab has some jimping as well. Really snappy, satisfying action on it, and the thumb hole really works well for me, especially for that kind of spidey flick, middle finger flick, and also really snappy. So nice detent on there, feels good, dialed in really well right out of the box. Now, the hardware on here is all T8 on the body. You can see it's non-tooled on the show side with that kind of blue collar that's recognizable from Olight, and then you flip it over and the entire pivot on the back is that same blue color, also a T8 screw there. The only exception being the pocket clip, which is T6, and really my only gripes with this knife are around the pocket clip. So it's right hand tip up only, non-reversible, which wouldn't mind seeing it reversible, but more than that, the pattern on this scales does continue all the way up, and so except for where it screws in. So that does mean that where this pocket clip is meeting the scales, it's textured, which might not be great on your pants, and it's also not inlaid into the handle. So right when you get to those screws as well is another spot where it's going to catch up on your pants. Eventually that's going to fray them, and so wouldn't have mind seeing that inset into the handle and the pattern kind of just stopping right underneath where that meets, and it can pick up all the way around it. But that's really the only gripe, because it's a really comfortable knife, going to make a really great user. Again, D2 steel, which is great at this price point. I think G10 handles. It does have this black titanium coating on it to help with the corrosion resistance, and also just kind of adds to that tactical feel, which is a little bit unique in the Oknife products. I don't think, at least the ones I have, don't feel super tactical. They feel more EDC, and so kind of cool to see from them. Even though my style is more that EDC, I do like seeing different designs and kind of experiencing those different designs. Really good price point, especially on that sale price at $51.99. I think it's worth it. It's definitely not something I would have probably picked up had they not sent it out, because it's more tactical and a lot larger than what I typically EDC, but really glad to have it because it really does fit my hand like a glove, which is cool when that happens. So fun action on it, super satisfying, can still be a nice fidgeter, but will make a really great user. I do like that kind of gun stock handle. Again, it's going to be a little bit wide, so for my wife, with her smaller hands, it definitely felt too wide. It didn't feel too long or anything like that, but definitely felt a little bit wide in her hand. So something to keep in mind. But let me know what you think of this knife down in the comments below. If you're interested in picking it up, I'll have links in the description. If it's obviously during the sale, 20% off. If not, I do have that coupon code, which I'll drop in the description as well. But thanks so much for checking it out. Let me know what you think. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And I hope you have a great one. Take care.